to like that it went into 10 buckets when in actuality, it's not like he
Yeah,
diversified 10 ways.
exactly. It actually, what clued me in was the lines that he had in there about listening to his Discman while buying his Jenko jeans. That's when I knew that it was made in the 1990s.
This podcast contains the arguably witty banter of two friends, Skippy and Doogles, that like to debate about investing. The content is intended to be entertaining and for informational purposes only, not investment advice. You should do your own research and consult a financial professional before using any of the information in this podcast, and especially before investing.
We got the double travel today. The double
It's the
travel.
first episode ever on the road.
Mhm.
Our
Oh, yeah.
accommodations, at least my accommodations, leave some to be desired.
It's how we roll today. It's all right. It's
Yeah.
all good. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. How you doing though, man?
Good, man. How about
Comfy?
you?
Nice. I'm in the nice weather. We took off from the cold and landed in the niceties, which is just a thing
Yeah,
to behold.
we did the same, man. Headed to the central Pacific Ocean, and
Oof.
apparently this is the way to do it when you're Colorado based, is to get out of town in February over President's Day weekend, right?
Yeah. And then we're coming back to like 10 degrees. But
I'm not
alas.
looking forward to that, but yeah, I'm looking forward to sleeping in my own bed for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's always good. It's always good. Should we kick this off one mo again with the listener mail?
Yes, definitely. We got listener mail from Jared this week. It's an opinion piece on Market Watch. This is by Paul Merriman. Something he has branded the ultimate buy and hold strategy for 2022. Douglas, I have thoughts. I'm sure you do too.
I always have thoughts, of course. Should we summarize what the ultimate portfolio is?
Basically, this guy has been around for years. He's a market commentator. And Douglas, my first read of this was there's a lot of sell your book going on here. This is a well-rehearsed strategy. He even states in the article that he writes the same article every year since 1995. So he's well entrenched that this is the appropriate strategy for him and for you. What he does is he starts with the S&P 500 and then he adds in multiple components until he ends up with effectively 10% of each of these different categories of investments, including things like US large company value, large cap value, small cap value, REITs, international, emerging markets, etc. And he basically slices it up into 10 places where you'd put 10% of your portfolio in each of these categories. And then your total asset allocation would be about 50% US, 50% international.
This is a little crass what I'm about to say, but I think it's stupid.
That's a stronger take. My take's not that strong.
It's actually not that the portfolio itself is allocated in a stupid way. Like that's not actually what I mean. I just mean by the time that you go through and you do like S&P 500, REITs, small cap value, large cap value, you own the US stock market and the like international stock market. And
Yeah.
there are like ETFs that probably weren't around when he started writing this article
In
in
1995.
1995, but that are now. Just like buy VTI, the US stock market, and then buy like VT, which is Vanguard's like international stock market, do 50-50 allocation of each. And
Well, bring in
call it a day.
some bonds and some REITs. So I actually, I'll tell you, he claims that in his back testing, this is like the greatest thing ever. Although the drawdowns are just as significant as holding S&P 500. All he's effectively doing here, this is what a lot of financial commentators end up doing. They add complexity, so it seems like this is something you couldn't do on your own, when in actuality you could just build it. So I didn't verify his back tests. I'll just trust that something in Market Watch is actually legitimate. But what he's trying to do here is sell his book, and that's it. And what he does when he brings in small cap and value stuff is he's taking the total stock market index and tilting it to some value factors, which should improve performance. Obviously, I'm a value guy. And then bringing in more international, which also, especially at this point in time, should improve performance going forward. So I think this is fine. I would tell the listeners, don't you dare use this strategy. Like, and the reason for that is because he's dug in. This is what makes sense to him, and his job is to sell this type of knowledge to know nothing investors. But you, this is not going to be the right strategy for you. You didn't come up with this strategy and decide you wanted 10 buckets.
I certainly didn't. No.
So,
sorry, you're being very nice. You're being very nice.
Okay.
Here's the deal. What this will do. So I'm not surprised if it increases annual performance by like a sousson, as my French colleagues would say. But I'm also not surprised if this increases your like the cost of you trading also by a sousson. Like, because most likely the stuff that in order to buy these, you're likely going to have to pay a higher again, I think of the term, whatever the
annual expense ratio.
Yeah, annual expense.
Your REITs and your international and your emerging markets is going to be higher. Yeah,
exactly. So you take out the transaction. I'm summoning my inner Bogle right now, the Jack Bogle. Who's like, you have to look at your transaction costs, right? So the expense ratios, all that stuff, taxes, all that stuff, and most likely you're not going to get whatever this is worth over a long period of time. If you just look at the returns of the stocks, I'm sure that it's more. But if you look at how much your brain has to hurt by reading about this stupidity, as well as the expense ratios and whatnot, I'm leaving more crass now. No, I'm joking. No, but actually, when you take out all the costs, I think it's probably most likely not going to be worth it. You could do something again, like this is just research advice as usual, not investment advice, but you could do something like buy VTI, the US stock market, Vanguard, very low expense ratio, and VT, the international, right? Or whatever the international Vanguard one is, and get pretty close to what they're talking about here, I would assume. Now, you're right. You lose like the REITs, like there's some stuff you lose.
You want some REITs and some emerging markets, maybe. But what cracks me up about this is I can tell the methodology was established in 1995, it seems, because like if he owns 10% of the S&P and 10% of large cap US stocks, those are effectively the exact same things. Like
yeah.
So he really has 20% in large cap US, and then he has another 10% in large cap US with a value tilt. It's like he just seemed to like that it went into 10 buckets when in actuality it's not like he diversified 10 ways.
Exactly. It actually, what clued me in was the lines that he had in there about listening to his Discman while buying his Janko jeans. That's when I knew that it was made in the 1990s. But anyway, no. It's the portfolio itself. If you just look at back testing, neither Skippy nor I back tested this, but I'm sure does have some outperformance, like guaranteed there. But it is unnecessarily complex.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Jared, appreciate the listener mail. Hope that makes sense. Hit us up with additional questions, because there's what do we love more, Doogles, than being mean about other people's investing?
Oh, this like it's my first, second, and third favorite thing in the world. And speaking of which, can I transition for a sec to do that? Region of the fishbowl. This is a quick hit, but I tell you what. So I always apologize for bringing Kathy Wood in here. Always apologize, and then I always do it again. So too late to apologize.
You're addicted, man. You're addicted.
But this time it was forced upon me because you're at your low as an investor. You're at your low when it's Jim Cramer that is throwing shade at you. So I'm just gonna give he like went off, and we can put this on the tweets. He went off on Kathy Wood, but the one line that I'll bring up, because this is just mean. All right. And Kathy, we have not said anything like this. Jim Cramer said, and I quote, "I'm shocked to see what she buys and how she buys. She buys like someone who just started yesterday." That Jim is Cramer just me. Yes. Wow. James Thumlomulus Cramer or whatever. I don't know what his middle name is. Like, drop this. Can you? It's just like, that's just me. Like, there's not even a joke in there. There's a little bit of truth. I'm sorry in that, Kathy, but yeah, I heard that. I just went, ooh. I
mean, I've moved on. I think life is better without Kathy Wood. If that makes any sense.
Oh my God. Okay, hold on. This is not. So Skippy, like 12 episodes ago, was talking about how Tim Cook likes to take people into alleys and dispose of them. And now he's discussing how life might be better without Kathy Wood. I just want to be very clear that this is not any sort of that's just research advice. Right now I'm joking. Yeah, like I do think she should calm down. Just calm down.
Doogles, we're gonna put you on this 12-step plan to quit Kathy Wood. I mean,
exactly.
Just move on, man. Just move on. This also, you got so excited about Kathy Wood, we couldn't even finish our second piece of listener mail. This is from HFR Capital. Last week we gave a shout out, being like, "Hey, we need our buddy in Paris to send us some stock picks." He did, and we love it. Thank you so much. I'm digging into some of these, so I don't know that I'm going to mention name by name, but there's some great options here, and we're so appreciative of the listeners for helping us out on research advice like that.
Thank you. It's beautiful. Specifically, I'm on a little bit of the hunt right now because I think I've talked about how in 2020 I picked up a whole bunch of stuff throughout 2020, picked up a whole bunch of stuff, and am almost done selling it all, which has a little bit of the portfolio is looking out there on the hunt. And so that's one of my categories that I have is European value. And this was super helpful in looking through what you're providing. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Couple research advice from our friend at HFR Capital. Rolls-Royce Holdings, if you guys want to dig in last minute, there's some good options here. I'm excited to spend some time researching this.
Although with that one, I tell you what, I saw I didn't read much into this, but maybe you did. I saw that there was like a ship that caught a flame over the past couple days that had like it was filled with like Porsches, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, and there was like a whole bunch of expensive cars on there. So supply shock.
I mean, being a Volkswagen stockholder like I am, that's really fun for me when your cars go up in flames.
Yeah.
It's like my normal stock picks, Doogles, according to you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the listener mail. Both pieces. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, all right. Doogles, what's in your fishbowl?
All right. I'm going to reach into the fishbowl here and talk about Bitcoin hacking. And this is such a well-done, well-written piece in the Wall Street Journal recently on what we're about to talk about here. And also, I'll say it goes back to something that you stated I don't know, maybe 20, 30 episodes ago. I can't remember what episode it was when you were discussing how there's always this like Bitcoin is not traceable. Cryptocurrency, I should say, is not traceable, but it's like it's very traceable. Like
it's the most traceable currency.
Yeah. So it's the opposite. It's the opposite of what folks say. You don't always know the who, but you know the where is basically what it is, because of the ledger and blockchain, you know where the money's going. You just don't know who owns the accounts. And so you end up the authorities just have to figure out the who. Like that's what everything's after. Yep. So what this is back in 2016, there was a hack of the Bitfinex, I think is how you pronounce it, exchange, of about $4.5 billion in today's dollars. It wasn't worth that much back then, but $4.5 billion approximately of Bitcoin is what was stolen. So they've been on the hunt. And one of the things I found interesting in this article was it was saying that back then the Bitcoin wasn't quite as much in the news, right? And so it wasn't as big of a deal. But like now it's such a there's so much crackdown that they're trying to have on cryptocurrency that there's many more resources that go toward it. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. But I'm gonna drop a couple pieces. I want to get your reaction. But before I even state this, what I want to mention is that one of the individuals that's involved that they've arrested around this is a big time hip hop artist. If you have not watched her rap, it is like a thing of wonder. If you can make it through the video, like it's a thing of wonder. But anyway, so Heather Morgan is the woman that's been arrested. I don't even think the full allegations of the hack are in there, but they've traced it back to one of her accounts. And then Ilya Lichtenstein is her husband, and so they were traced down because of gift cards. Like they bought a bunch of gift cards, like Walmart, Uber, etc. They were brought back to them, and so that's how they found them after 6 years now. They were able to find these folks where the money traced back to. Again, they have not been accused of the hack, but that's where the money was traced back to. And what she does, according to her own bio, is this. She says, when she's not reverse engineering black markets to think of better ways to combat fraud and cybercrime, She enjoys rapping and designing streetwear fashion. This is who we're talking about here. All right, I pause.
Doogles, you went off on poor Miss Morgan here. This
It's so bad.
I haven't watched the rap, but here's a quote. I'm definitely not trying to win a Grammy for my voice, but I'm addicted to rap. She also used to be a reporter with like Forbes, if I remember correctly. This is just the oddest story. It's like Tiger King for Bitcoin thief.
Oh, that's
really
exactly
fun.
right.
But so I found two things just incredibly interesting. One is they stole the Bitcoin and then they jumped through all these hoops to try and like launder that money essentially. And it looks like with the dark web, it used to be a lot easier back in say 2017 or 2018.
Yep.
But you're right. There's so much more scrutiny that it's way harder to find. And Doogles, we've been doing the show a little over a year. I think we've already talked about 3 massive seizures of stolen money via Bitcoin.
That's right.
I'm not sure that like facts meet reality here when people talk about this being the best way to do crime, because it seems like all this stuff gets recovered.
Because it's so traceable.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I just thought was fascinating is they went to district court judge or maybe a federal judge and presented some evidence to try and get a search warrant. And the judge's ruling says, noting the public nature of the blockchain ledger, meant that they have no constitutional right to privacy. So that's such an interesting legal take financially, is to say, well, no, what they did is public. You have given me reasonable doubt that this person relates to this wallet ID. And so go break into their house. They broke into their house. They found $40,000 in cash. They found all this like criminal activity stuff. And then they connected all the dots.
You skipped one amazing thing that they found. So everything you said is correct. They found a plastic baggie that was marked burner phone. Like on the plastic bag was written burner phone. Like that, isn't that straight from like a Inspector Gadget comic or something? Like, does that really occur?
I mean, Inspector Gadget isn't a rap artist, so it was probably
okay. That is true.
From like T-Pain's book on how to commit crimes.
That is true. He never dropped the lyric, and I quote, "Spearfish your password, all your funds transferred." He never did that. That's true.
And she did. This story is bizarre, guys. Like, we'll put it on the Twitter. It's just read it because it'll make you laugh, but it'll also make you learn a few things. It's hilarious.
Oh, all right. Fishbowl time for you.
Remember at the beginning of the pandemic when stocks like Hilton pulled back significantly, and stocks like Zoom went up 300%?
I recall.
Do you know where they sit today?
Reversal of fortune, or the same place?
The same place.
Oh,
so Hilton went way down, slowly climbed back up. Zoom went way up and then way down. And they've had the same performance since February 2020. I keep mentioning this stuff because I don't think people appreciate enough that if you sit around, change your perspective, give things 6 months to 24 months, like you're going to be shocked where things end up.
Yeah, there are different roads, different journeys that stocks can have. But as a good friend once said, mean reversion is real.
You're such a jerk.
No, I do find that to be interesting. The other one that I really liked was, this was from a few weeks ago when I saw this, but Berkshire Hathaway and ARK. Another chart that was, that was kind of going around how they've landed at the same place too. It's like so important to grasp those concepts that I'm glad that you keep bringing that up, because the brain, human psyche, like can't understand it, I think. But when you see it, you just like keep looking at it, because it's what happens. Like this stuff you don't have a runaway performance that continues forever. Right. And in that journey. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but no, let's talk about that in a little more detail. When Berkshire and ARK end up at the same place, or when Hilton and Zoom end up at the same place, Hilton and Berkshire have positive momentum as well. And so they're right now, I haven't done a valuation on any of these. I mean, but theoretically, the Berkshires and the Hiltons are better to hold at this point in time because there's a strong foundation of performance that's been built over the past 2 years as they weathered challenging storms. It's just crazy. Yeah, just you give anything 2 years and the stock market's gonna surprise you.
It always does. That's what's fun about it. When
Yeah.
we were talking to James McIntosh and asked him why he's into this stuff, he mentioned the puzzle of the markets, and like it's a continually surprising. It's a puzzle to figure out that is like unfigure outable. I think it's fascinating. The market. I love it. I absolutely love it. Can I fishbowl time right now?
Please.
Good. All right. Reach into the fishbowl here for I'll say a little bit of a continuation. We've been talking about staying invested, how important it is to stay invested. But this is stay invested, but that doesn't necessarily mean like constantly invest randomly. Is what I'll say. There was this what do they call it? It's a tweet storm. I'm not into the social medias. Tweet storm, I think, by at Ben P. Eifert, I think. Ben DJ D Vol Eifert is the full name of the individual that they put beside their Cobra Kai picture here. But what this person did was tweeting out a whole bunch of research on how successful individual traders have been, and like I'll say nay to myself, how unsuccessful individual traders have been. I'm going to drop a few, like just a handful of the things, but it's a cool little research fueled tweet storm here. Yeah. So one is the top stocks bought by Robinhood users underperform by 9% on average over the following month. Another is more than 80% of eToro users lose money. 97% of Brazilian day traders in the equity futures market lose money. 97% seems like a lot. I don't know. I'm not a statistician. That seems like a lot. 70% of individual foreign exchange traders lose money in a given quarter, and the average annual loss is 100% of initial account balance.
Is that leverage or something? There's a SEC.gov link there, but like that seems tough to pull off, man.
That is impressive. Like, if you tried.
Impressive work by the FX trading community right there. Nice work, guys.
If someone came to you, this is like a kind of like a Brewster's Millions. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, Richard Pryor movie from back in the day. But so Brewster's Millions was a movie where Richard Pryor was going to inherit millions of dollars if he could spend $1 million, but not tell anyone he was trying to do it, was basically like what the movie's about. But anyway, if someone came to you and said, Skippy, you need to lose 100%. You can trade foreign currency. You have to lose 100% of your balance. Like, it's kind of hard to do, like to do that. Especially you. I mean, you'd be compounding. Like you'd be like, all I can do is compound.
No, this is like when I was in Vegas and you told me to throw $100 down on the table, and I couldn't do it because it just felt too risky for me. Man.
Yeah, you couldn't.
I couldn't. I was physically not able. I'm like too conservative.
It's like I'm going to give you $100 that I would like for you to bet for me, and you said, nope, I can't.
Not doing it. Not doing it.
Can't. Last one that I wrote down here: Taiwanese day trader annual losses amount to 2.2% of GDP. Like,
ooh, nice work.
That's also impressive.
You skipped my favorite. Single men trade 67% more than single women and significantly perform worse, which is an effect explained primarily by overconfidence.
Yes, as is why they're single.
So we can just send a shout out to the female listeners of the show and just say, shoot us an email and say, I'm better than you guys, and stop being overconfident.
There you go. Question: is Kathy Wood single?
I'm not touching that. I have no idea. Her stock picks are single. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's great. Do you know, very quick quiz, you know how different companies will have like nicknames for their employees sometimes?
Yeah. Like
if you work at Google, you're
going around my corporate world right now. It's we haven't got any crazy nicknames, but it's evolved to everyone going team this, team that. Some companies are all about family these days, which I think is that's a slippery slope.
Tell me more about this conspiracy theory.
No thanks. Anyway, what company is calling their employees something odd these days?
Yeah, so I hadn't even thought about this, and I'm not. I don't know why I am now, but so Facebook changed its name to what?
Meta.
Okay, what is Facebook now calling its employees?
I hope employees, but I'm sure.
Yes, incorrect. Incorrect.
I mean, I am
Metamates.
over
Metamates.
Metamates. No,
Yes.
I was
Yes.
just gonna say, can you Google if Zuckerberg's in Hawaii right now? Because maybe I could run into him and have a competition.
Yeah. And
Metamates.
Metamates. I not making this up.
It's not good, man.
No. And speaking of what's also not good, there's slow your roll, Zuck. Slow your roll, because you had like got a thing going on, but you're trying too hard with this metaverse stuff. So Metamates too much. And last Sunday, I was thoroughly enjoying the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Thoroughly enjoying. However, did you see the commercial that Facebook put out or Meta put out?
No, somehow I missed that.
Oh my goodness gracious. So there's a commercial for Horizon Worlds, which is the name of their virtual world metaverse thing. And the commercial they put out, I'm going to describe it and it'll sound like I'm exaggerating. It'll sound like it, but I'm not. What this commercial was, is it was like it was filmed in what looks like a Chuck E. Cheese. And you know, the like animatronic Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, I
Things,
totally
right?
know, like the
Yeah.
band things. Yeah,
Exactly. So it wasn't a Chuck E. Cheese, but it was like a Chuck E. Cheese. Like it was kind of like a playoff of Chuck E. Cheese. And they showed like the animatronic band thing happening. But then this fake Chuck E. Cheese got shut down. And it was the story of one of the like bandmates, the animatronic bandmate, like going through life. And so it was being passed off from one place to another. It got left in the snow at one point. Very sad. And then it was missing its friends, right?
yeah.
And it found its animatronic band friends in the metaverse.
In the metaverse, I see.
This was like a 2-minute commercial about this, like, really, because those things were freaky. Like, this was not something you want to, this like animatronic dog thing that is getting lost throughout the world and then finds its friends in the metaverse. And then from what I saw, the metaverse that they showed it find its friends in isn't even Horizon Worlds. Like it was just like a CGI'd thing that they made up. So
Yeah, no, it probably joined Second Life, man.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're like we can't show our actual product. Let's show the one that someone's been working on for 20 years. Anyway, sorry, I went off there, but the Metamates probably also did not enjoy this.
Yeah, I mean, last thing on Facebook is kind of, I don't know. Facebook is equity that I think you can tell any story you want with, right? The people that say, I bought it at IPO, I'm up 10 times, look at the free cash flow, this is amazing. This is like one of the dominant companies in the world. You can also be, I mean, my take is more like, yeah, but he's destroying all sorts of value in terms of investing in the metaverse instead of giving that money back to shareholders and, you know, increasing his moats. It's just really fascinating to watch. I will say I'm happy that someone's not calling me a meta member.
Metamate.
Oh, a meta mate.
Yeah, meta member. Actually, it has a little bit more distinguishment or whatever.
There we go. See, I should be on the executive team.
Facebook, it is interesting. I think you're right that you can tell so many stories. It's also it's like the purest of the platform plays, and almost it has much potential value. When I say purest, what I mean is that what they do is just simpler. Like it's one platform that has the information about the world, and we know who you are, which is it's you know, right? It's like, and that's all. And all they do with it is they use that and sell advertising. Like that's effectively the business, right? That's pretty pure. They haven't done a lot else with it, which shows like there's more value that could potentially be extracted, but they are, to your point, like what they're trying to do with it is confusing.
Well, and the fascinating thing, I mean, the Wall Street Journal had another awesome article this week about Apple cross app tracking, and how that's worth at least $10 billion negatively to Meta. Now, the fascinating stat in that is that Apple now, when you download apps, it basically asks if you want to prevent tracking across apps, and only 18% of the population is opting in. So then they interviewed all these advertisers who said, I used to spend, there was one lady, she'd spend $14 to acquire a new customer with Facebook's previous personalized ad targeting. Now she was spending hundreds and none of it was converting. So she switched her entire marketing budget over to Google. And Apple's advertising within the App Store is also something that's seen a huge uptick. So the business model that was so simple may be less profitable going forward because they don't have the ability to know every facet of what their users do.
Yeah. When your platform success is based on another platform's information,
the mercy
data,
of someone
process,
else.
exactly. That makes it kind of hard. You said like a week or two ago, we were texting about like there are many ways to look at Meta's current valuation and for it to look attractive, but there's this question mark discount to put on it as to like, what is its platform? Like, what are they trying to do right now? Right. If you go back to if their business was the same as we thought it was, a year or two ago, the valuation looks pretty interesting right now. Whether or not, right. But it's similar, right, to what we said around Square becoming Block. It's like Square actually, I'm gonna say Square intentionally here. Like Square looks interesting at the current price that it's at right now for me, at least to dive in deeper. Block. I mean, that just sounds like a thing I do on my phone for someone I don't want to talk to,
Yeah, Facebook would be so fascinating to me if I could buy, say, Facebook, Instagram only at current valuations, and I felt comfortable that their business model isn't worth, I don't know, 50% of what it used to be. Because if only 18% of your users in the App Store opt in, and you believe the anecdotal stories that means the ad spending doesn't really work, that's a massive game changer. And
Huge.
you can't get that. It's too much of a conglomerate that wants to spend money all over the place that I just can't get comfortable with it.
What else you got in your fishbowl?
I mean, next in the fishbowl, I just want to hit that the Fed has announced that they will be banning officials from trading stocks, bond, and cryptocurrencies.
Oh,
and
love it.
I'm in favor of this. This is great.
Love it. That's so, yeah, we've been talking about this for a year now or something, whatever, right? Almost between that and Congress. It feels like a duh. Like it should be non-news, but it's awesome. I'm really glad that they're doing that.
Well, and the Fed's the one that had, when this was in the news a few months back, one of the guys, maybe in the Dallas Fed, came out and said, like, our standards are so strong. They just happen to be optional for their
exactly.
I forget the exact wording, but he was like, you should see what our core standards are, except they're optional. So this is just a step in the right direction. Hopefully Congress and the Senate do the same thing. There's no reason for this.
Thanks for raising that, because it's a big one, and look forward to seeing what Congress does. I have one last thing in my fishbowl.
Yeah.
And that is on the Olympics. So Olympics are happening right now over in China, Winter Olympics. If you like people that are shooting things and then skiing, which I can't wrap my head around why you do both those things, but Winter Olympics happening. And I saw something that I didn't realize the other day. It's how much people win. Like what compensation people get if they win from a US standpoint. So we're gonna turn this into a little brief quiz here. For a gold medal, how much does someone get? How much does the U.S. Olympic Committee pay a gold medalist in the U.S.?
Oh gosh, is it like 50K or something?
Way too high.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go 30.
Yeah, closer. It's 37,500. So you're like born and you go, I got these genes to be an American, my Jenko genes.
I'm the best in the world.
Exactly. to be like the best. You train so hard, you got all these coaches, you like spend hours and hours in the pool. You are the best in the world. Here's 37,500 is what happens there. Silver gets 22,500 and bronze is 15,000.
I'm seeing this trend. I mean, so there's a decent graph in this article. This came from Yahoo Finance, and it seems like a lot of countries say a gold medal is worth like significantly more than a silver, but then a silver is almost worth the same as a bronze in terms of compensation for the medals. Isn't that really interesting, Doogles? Like, it's not like we do $100 for gold and then 66 for silver and 33 for bronze. It's more like we do $100 for gold, 50 for silver, and like 40 for bronze. And I'm looking at what, a collection of 10 countries here. That whole mindset is interesting. People seem to think if it's not a gold, it's just a metal. And we know that silver is slightly better than bronze.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. It's the way, I'm a poker player. It's kind of the way the poker tournaments work too. If you like first, you end up getting like half the bounty.
Yeah, true.
And then the other half ends up going, right. And that's basically what this is. If you add up silver and bronze, you get one gold.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, it is interesting though. Either you win it or why'd you even try? Right, is what we're telling our people these days. And the thing that, like, the question this raises, which they touch on, is you do have all these costs, right? Like literal financial costs, the cost of training and like how you can get there and all that stuff. How do you get it back? And some people, what they were saying is when you have your moment, like first you better get the moment, right? Because lest you get fourth place, like that's because that fourth place is $0, right? So when you have your moment, then you capitalize and you try and get all the advertising and all, like, get it all, right? If you have that moment. The other option from what I saw here is go work at Home Depot.
Because Home Depot they wanted to support our athletes by giving them part-time jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Those are your two options. If you don't work at Home Depot or you do not capitalize on advertising, like, more power to you. But it was pretty cool to see that Home Depot like organized this part-time employment program where they're helping athletes. It's smart one from a business standpoint, but pretty cool. Yeah, but you either go work at Home Depot, get your second job at Home Depot, or you better be in advertising.
I mean, I live in a community that's big on runners. There's a lot of professional athletes, and you can go to the local running shop and like see someone super famous if you're aware in that community, and they'll be like helping you fit your shoes, and it's like, no, you're like one of the fastest runners in the world. Why do you have to have a part-time job here? Like, it's depressing. It doesn't seem right. I mean, you are truly one of the world's best athletes, and you're like telling me that maybe I want a size 10.5 instead of size 11, so my strike out. I mean, this doesn't seem right to me, especially in the U.S. And we should mention, Doogles, here. So the U.S. is, in terms of compensation, they're at least like 8th in the world. I mean, they're not in the top 3. Singapore pays almost $1 million for a gold medal. I'm a huge return on investment guy, and it seems like we should put a little more money up here because it's gonna be good for the U.S. and the U.S. Olympic Committee.
People are still doing it. So if we,
true,
right? But yeah, I found that to be pretty interesting.
All right, guys. Well, hey, I hope this is our first episode with both me and Doogles on the road. I hope the audio was good for you. Thanks for the listener mail, and hit us at the one-stop shop at skippydoogles.com. All the info you need about episodes and everything else is there. Did I miss anything, Doogles?
Just rate and review. Always, we love it, and send in that listener mail. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.